router here. Come on, router. We're just showing the router interfaces. Do I not have the right interface? Must. Come on, packet tracer up. Do that again then. There we go. So we have this preferences. Let's go ahead and show the port labels. There we go. That makes it even easier. Okay, at least we can see gig 00, gig 01. That's what we care about there. Okay, so let's go to the router here. And we're going to say on gig 01, okay, interface gigabit 01. All right, so this is where I can configure an IPv6 address. Okay, now we're going to say that our global unit, so I'm going to say IPv6, not IP, but IPv6. And let's make it 2001 DB8. Let's use our cafe. And we're going to call this over here on the right, we'll call it subnet 1. Okay. Now, what's going to be the address? Let's make it easy. :1. Okay, so we don't need a long address. Now, prefix length /64. So that says that these first 64 bits is the network portion. This is the host portion. Okay. Oops. I forgot one little word called address. All right. Now I do have to do a no shutdown. So let's do that. Okay. I'm going to get rid of that for right now. Okay, let's do gig 00. I don't have to do exit, but I like to just show you where we're starting at. We'll do interface gig 00. Over on the left here. Why did I put a 9? Okay, let's do IPv6 address 2001 DB8 cafe. We'll say they're in the same. We've got maybe a /48. This is R2 subnet. We'll make that the 2 subnet. Okay, and we can give that a :1/64. Okay, let's do A and no shutdown. And let's do an end. And now, by the way, if I do show IP route, what do I see? Oh, nothing. Why? Well, this isn't IPv4. This is IPv6. Okay. So what we want to see here is what we want to do is we want to do show IPv6 route. This will look at our routing table in IPv6. So I'm directly connected to 2 networks. This one here on gig 01 and this one here on gig 00. Okay, so let's configure this server first. So I'm going to go over to the server, and I'm just going to do this. It's the only option I have. I'm going to do this in config mode. I'm going to go to the fast Ethernet interface, and I'm going to give it a static address. So under here, IPv6 address. Now notice it gave itself a link local address. Okay, it did that automatically. We'll talk more about that later. Okay, let's do 2001 cafe. No, DB8, sorry. I know that's hard to see there, hard to see for me. Cafe 2, :, let's give it some address. And again, we can just, doesn't have to be numbers, right? Let's give it ABCD. That's our server address. Okay. We also need, you know what we need to do? We need to give it a default gateway, don't we? Well, for now, okay, this would not normally be that. I'm going to give it the global unicast address. Now we're going to see that's normally you use the link local address of the router. But let's kind of keep this simple for now till we get to link local addresses, which will be on next Tuesday. DB8 Cafe 2:1. That's the IPv6 address of router 2. Okay, right? We are, what happened to my default? Oh, I swear I typed that in, didn't I? Oh, you know what? DB8 Cafe 2:ABCD prefix line 64. Okay, is it in there now? That all looks good. Prefix length, let's go up here. You've got that. There we go. I liked it this time. All right, yeah, prefix length over here. So it's gonna, we're gonna use /64. I mean, all right. Actually, let's test something. Let's go over to the desktop. Command prompt, ipconfig. Okay, there's my, there's my IPv6 address. I have this link local address. That's interesting. We'll talk about that later. And this is my default gateway for now. Ping 201 DB8 Cafe 2:1. Okay, so that's working. That's always nice. Do piece by piece, right? Let's go over to PC1 here. Okay. If I do ipconfig, okay, doesn't have an IPv6 address. Now I'm going to add something here to the router. We'll talk more about this a little later, but I'll introduce it right now. I'm going to do a command. It's called IPv6 unicast routing. Now, what is this command I'm doing on the router? This turns a router into an IPv6 router. Yes, you can configure IPv6 addresses on the router. These are the addresses we configured. Okay, they were /64s. The 128 is just an internal thing in the routing table. But this is something we have to do for IPv6. We don't have to do it for IPv4. But for IPv6, this says two things. One, I will route between IPv6 networks. Okay, what else will I do? I'm going to send out something called a router advertisement message. So what is happening here is this router is sending out both interfaces. It's sending out both interfaces a router advertisement message. On this side here, it's saying, hey, all of you, my router advertisement message, this is the prefix you're on, DB8 Cafe. Sorry, this is not the easiest writing here. 1:64. We'll take a look at this more detail, but it's letting everybody on this network know you belong to this network. On the other side here, it's doing similar, but it's saying, so I'm just going to kind of blah, 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 blah. Cafe 2 network /64. This host here can say, oh, thank you. You know what? I can use that information and create my own IPv6 address. Let's take a look. Let's go over here to PC1, go to config, fast Ethernet. Let's go automatic. See that? I don't know if you saw it, but let's go to desktop. Let's do ipconfig. Let's expand this. Oh, it gave itself this IPv6 address. It said, hey, router, you told me what network I'm on. I'm going to create my own interface portion. And you're my default gateway. What is this address here? Oh, that's that's my router's address? Well, yes. Let's take a look at that. That is the router's address. That is the router's link local address. Okay, so let's do this. show. Remember this command show IP interface brief? This is show IPv6 interface brief. And we will see that the router on that interface on, what was that, gig 01? Yeah, gig 01. That's its global unicast address, but that's its link local address. That router advertisement message I mentioned was sent from this router's as a source IPv6 address was used as this. It's kind of ugly to look at, isn't it? Let's do this. And we'll talk more about this later. But we can change that to make it prettier, easier for us to see. How can we do that? Let's go interface gigabit 01. Let's get, oops, sorry. Exit, so you know I'm definitely out of, I'm in 01, right? Yes, 01. We're gonna be doing this on Tuesday. I'm gonna say IPv6 FE80. I'm statically gonna configure a new link local address, and I'm just gonna make it 1. And I have to say link local. Oh. We're going to put address. Okay. Now what that did is that changed the link local address on that interface. Why is that a nice thing? Let's do this here. Let me go here. I'm going to do static. Now let me do automatic. Do you see let me show you the interface here. See the interface? This is the IPv6 address. We're going to see my default gateway change. You might have seen that there. Let me just do this again. IP config. Look at this. So again, the router advertisement said, this is the network you're on, the prefix. This computer created its own interface ID. Now, is it possible that that could be not unique? Not very possible, but we'll talk about later how the host makes sure it's actually unique before it uses it. The router advertisement message was sent by the router out of this interface, but it sends it using the source IPv6 address from its link local address. Remember, we changed the link local address to that, something easier for the PCs to see. Just as an IT person, you want to be able to know the default gateways or something you can remember too. Not necessarily don't care about the clients, but that I can remember. That's the default gateway for those devices. Oh yeah, we'll talk more about this. The router sends this from its link local address, okay? And it says, hey, I'm the default gateway, okay? Don't listen to anybody else. This is not available via a DHCP server like IPv4. This is like the post office sending me a letter and saying, I look at the address of where the letter came from the post office. I look at the address in the envelope, the source address on the envelope, and I go, oh, that's the address of the post office. That's what's happening here. When this router sent the router advertisement message, it sent it from the source address. Now it uses its link local, but it could use, and there's a reason for that, but it's saying, you now know my address, because that was the source address of the router advertisement. So now you know the address of your local router, because I'm the one that sends router advertisements. Now, why does it send it as a link local? That guarantees that this host can reach it, because this host can only reach link local addresses. So this is the link local address, meaning, yep, I know I can reach you. You're on my link, on my network. I'm not getting bogus information about a default gateway address. That's not, it's like local post office. You live in Santa Cruz and you get a message saying your local post office is in New York. You go, no, that's not local to me. This guarantees it's local. Okay. All right. So, we'll talk more about, oh, let's do this. Can we ping? That's what we want to do, right? Ping. Ping. 2001 DB8 Cafe 2. Let's ping. Yes, I know I have a meeting here in 5 minutes. Okay. I don't want to, let's see. And what was its address? ABCD. Is that right? That's the server there. Wand over it, we can see, yes. See that there? ABCD. All right. There we go. We've got communications. We're not running IPv4 at all. This is IPv6 only. Okay. Some slight differences, but it's still IP. All right, I'll let you go. I get to run off to another meeting. Thank you for showing up early. I really appreciate that. Roger, I'll get back to you if I need that, and I really appreciate that offer. All right, everybody, you have a great day. Happy Halloween, by the way. Happy Halloween. I forgot to say that. Okay, have a great day.
Happy Halloween. Take care.
Thank you.
Recording stopped.